Hello, welcome to Sanjeev Tanna World Affairs, also known as ST World Affairs. I'm your host, Sanjeev Tanna, producer of ST World Affairs show. Our show covers a wide range of stories related to social issues, businesses, startups, finance, health, politics, nonprofit, entertainment, and arts. In our show, we honor local heroes for their courageous acts. We bring startup founders and entrepreneurs in our show, and we talk about their innovations, ideas, and future trends. Today, we're going to talk about Garry Lamit. People call him Garry or Professor Garry or Sir. Garry is an educator, engineer, speaker, author, and member of many and mentor to many students at DeAnza Community College, Cupertino. Garry is the author of over 34 technical and engineering textbooks, workbooks, tutorials, handbooks, and 10 books and journals on a variety of subjects, starting golf, fishing, bird watching, gardening, and children's book. Garry has trained, or I would say retrained, hundreds of students with engineering design coursework. Garry is also one of the founding members of Scholarship for Veterans, a not-for-profit organization rewarding community college scholarship to recent veterans in Santa Clara Valley. Garry also owns and operates his own consulting firm and has been involved with advertising and patent illustration. Garry, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Sam.
So, with your broad background, I want to start first question with community college.
Okay.
So, when you talk about community colleges, community colleges play a very relevant role in higher education, right? So compared to 4 years degree, some students, they prefer to go through community colleges. Right. And the way I understand, there are two kinds of students. One class of students, they want to enroll, get the credits, and transfer to another universities.
Correct.
And second set of, they just want to get associate degree and get the job.
Right.
So, in your view, what's the community college's role, in strictly speaking, in broader sense?
Right. Well, one of the things, it's called a terminal degree. So you can go get a terminal degree. Let's say it's in nursing or in electronics or in machine tool, something like that, where they can go out and get a job. Mm-hmm. The other one is, like you said, a younger student coming in, getting anywhere from half, quarter to a half of all their units necessary for a 4-year degree at a very much reduced rate. So it's really more than, and for us in my area in CAD, we are taking people for many of the, since 1984, a lot of the people who already have engineering degrees or have technical degrees or 5, 10, 20 years experience in design, and we train them in a CAD system that they need to stay employed. So we have like a captive audience in that. There are people who come in and want to get a drafting and design, it's called engineering graphics, let's put it that way, and CAD, and they want to go into the field that way. It's a little bit more difficult than it was before. There's a lot of trained engineers, whatever, but they don't have the particular tool necessary. So that's one group. The other group, like I said, is these people who want a 2-year degree and be able to get in employment, which is not impossible to do, and especially if they get like an internship at NASA and get a little bit under their belt. And then there's these younger people who are coming in and using it as a starting point for their college education. So it's really a balance. It's really a balance between these two, and once in a while, like we are taking care of people who are more advanced. There's a place for everybody at the table. It is a tension thing at the colleges usually, because the people who run the colleges in general are from the first group. We're training people from 18 years old to 20-some years old to get in and then get the units and then transfer. Okay. The ones in the middle, that's the technical group or the terminal degrees. Those people are very important, especially in this community here. But it's a less, in the minds of many administrators, it's a little bit less important. So there's always that dynamic tension. You have to have a balance, especially here. Now, if we were in an area of the country or the state that didn't have that, but we have a jobs need here, we have a training need here, we've got things other than just young people. And the community colleges locally, and DeAnza included, have lost population in the last 10, 20 years. Part of it is the valley has fewer children, and the people who are here especially if they've been successful, they buy a nice home, and many of them even stay and retire here. So there's not this turnover of younger people coming in with children and the children going to high school and high school going to college. You can maybe go over to the Valley and find that, but it's much less than it used to be here. We had 30-some thousand students when I started, 35 or something. Now it's down to about 28, I think.
Yeah. So I was going to ask you this question later on, but why not we just talk right now? Let's just continue our conversation with community college. So
Okay.
I'm going to quote Steve Jobs in October 2010. He had discussion with Obama, and he called America's lackluster education system an obstacle to Apple. So at that time they needed 30,000 industrial engineers.
Right.
Okay, that was 2010, and I don't think so. Nothing has been changed. I
No,
think it could be worse.
I think it's
now,
probably
right?
worse. Yeah.
So Apple design most of their products here,
right.
and then they manufacture in Asia.
Right.
So DeAnza College has a program for CAD system and the manufacturing also, right? So I'm just wondering that when community college like DeAnza, they offer manufacturing courses.
Well, but manufacturing a little bit different. We have the CNC, and that's part of our department now. We went back together and joined with them. But they're doing like product design, they're doing product machining, they're doing mock-ups. You know, I don't think they're doing as much production things in coming out of our program. Now, if you're coming out of a program in Cleveland and going to work in whatever Dayton, Ohio, then that would be a different situation in machine tool. I don't think we're like supplying manufacturing people in the same sense as other places.
Yeah, that's what I was just trying to come up with. And my question was that how does this community college can fill up the gap where we can go back to companies like Apple and tell them, okay, we have now enough industrial engineers or mechanical engineers and they have been well trained from DeAnza College, and then they are ready to give you the services. I mean, do you think that you see yourself?
Well, my perspective would be get rid of such a heavy reliance on GE, because general ed is really there just to pad the colleges and have a whole human being graduate, not a whole human being who can get a job, but a whole human being. And I would say let's cut down our 4-year degrees to 3 years and call them bachelors of science, and then let's say if you want to go an extra year, go an extra year, and you can have a BA and then go get your master's somewhere. But I think streamlining the process, because I think where people fall down, especially people from other countries who are coming here, and my wife's from Vietnam, and I know the language difficulty they have and all that, they want to get in, get out. They want to get in and learn. They do not want to learn about a whole bunch of fluff. And that fluff really slows them down, and a lot of time discourages them, and they end up quitting and doing maybe some local job rather than what they really wanted to do. Those who stick it out still have to tough out all those courses that really mean very little to them. I just think getting the technical side would be more important. And if you want to go do some more and you want to go get your master's, that's fine. But I think streamlining it, taking 4 years and a lot of money to do it.
So can you describe what exactly you teach or at DeAnza College? I know that you teach computer-aided design, but for our viewers, they may not know about the meaning of computer-aided design. Where do you use it? How do you use it? And then once you acquire that skill, where do you apply? I mean, can you get a job?
Well, again, if you're coming in with a degree in engineering, industrial engineering, mechanical engineering, or even product design or something like that, you still need a tool in order to work in industry. So if you go to work at Stryker Endoscopy, they use cryoparametric. It used to be called Pro Engineer. If you go to work at Intuitive Design, the Intuitive Surgical, they use SolidWorks and they use cryoparametric. So you have to have the tool. Just because you have the sheet of paper that says you can do it doesn't mean you can do anything. As far as what, if people want to know what what computer-aided design is, let's put it this way: there isn't anything that isn't computer-aided design. Whether you're touching this or you're touching this, and the machine that made this, the chair that you sit in, this piece of plastic here, it doesn't make any difference. Nothing is designed without the use of a computer now. Now, before it was computer graphics were on the board, but you still had to design it. So people say, what are you doing? So, well, they didn't design this. Well, there's a machine that made this. So maybe the industrial designer or the graphic designer or the, I don't know what designer it would be, came up with this texture and this color and whatever. But this had to be manufactured. So the machines used to manufacture it
Gotcha.
were all designed with a computer-aided design system.
Got you. I want to focus our discussion on the scholarship for veterans program.
Okay.
What is it?
Okay, well, back when the Iraqi war started, back in 2001, I decided to start a scholarship fund. And I think you were part of it in the beginning. A whole bunch of people I brought in, and it was very nice. We put about only 15 or 20 people through, 1 or 2 a year. But what we did is we provide them with a 2-year degree. So we say, if we will pay for all your tuition and your fees for 2 years, and then you can transfer and maybe get another scholarship, or maybe you can get a grant to go on to the university. So we put a lot of young men and women through it, which has been a very interesting thing, because I've met people who our armed services are not what they were 30 or 40 or 50 years ago. They're very diverse and very unique. We have a Burmese woman who was born in Burma who was a medic for the Marines, even though she went into the Navy. She said, I ended up with the Marines. And we have another person who flew the submarine hunters off the coast here. And we've had Filipino American, we've had, I hate to hyphenize everybody, a bunch of Vietnamese Americans, because those are my people. I just say that because my whole family's Vietnamese on one side.
Okay.
But it's really been nice to see that male and female, and the community college system, if you get 2 years, well, you've got half your degree done. And people say, well, how much does that cost? Well, almost nothing. Well, especially if you get a scholarship, it's nothing. Okay. But it's a very easy way to get your first 2 years in. And if we can ease their way in and remove any obstacles financially there, that's what we wanted to do.
Okay. So tell me about so you have, I'm very surprised that you have devoted all your life in your engineering, designing, and then yet you can write a book on children golf. So I want to understand, how do you do that?
I think in 1978 I started writing. I was only like 29 years old or something like that. I got my first contract. It was piping, drafting, and design. It turned into this enormous book on nuclear, petrochemical, and industrial piping. Right. And they always say, well, you're an author or you writer. An author is a person who writes one book and puts it on their mantle. Might be a great book, might have made good money, but once you like the process, I think you just get into it, and that's really what happened to me. I never stopped, and everything from piping design, electronic design, CAD, engineering graphics, doesn't make any difference what it was. If I was teaching it, I would write a book on it. Descriptive geometry, and a lot of my subjects, oddly enough, have disappeared, which is, I think, kind of interesting. And it was just so long ago, like that subject doesn't exist anymore, because now the 3D CAD took its place. But so since about 98, I've been doing the CAD books, the computer-aided design. So now I just do the revisions, not really revisions or rewrites of the 3D CAD system, and that's Creo Parametric.
Garry, I want to thank you for stopping by to our show. So if anyone wants to enroll into Garry's program, or he wants to understand DeAnza College, what they are offering, please visit us cadresources.com, and that's where you can CAD-resources.com, or you can just visit DeAnza College.
Right.
I'm your host, Sanjeev Tana. Thanks for watching our show. Thank you.
Thank you, Sam.